everyone, welcome to the Anchor of the Week. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney, and we're an initiative of Hope and Anchor Community Church in London.
Each week we'll discuss different topics relevant to faith and Christianity in today's culture.
We're here to build a space for the church to share our experiences and challenge one another to grow in living a life like Jesus.
Okay, Timo, welcome to another episode of the Anchor on the Streets today. Yes.
We're out here, actually today, we combined a little something, because we were actually at a freedom march, because we were...
Sorry. I just want to apologize to anyone who heard Courtney just then. No, I'm joking. I'm messing. But
it just came out naturally, okay? Just roll with it. But basically, we're here doing an evangelism with our church, Hope and Anchor Community Church. Really awesome day. So if you want more information on that, just check out Hope and Anchor Community Church on Instagram. And I'll have a lot more for you guys to catch up on. But that's not the point of why we're here today. That was just a fun little extra.
Yes. Yeah. And we will probably maybe make a post about that because obviously we're all here involved. But anyway, that is not what this is about. Yeah, there is more. Yeah. No, but yesterday, we took it to the streets in Camden, and we had a few interviews on Rejection and got some juicy things. So, yeah, I don't know. We had some good answers, didn't we?
Yeah, so we're really looking forward, to just kind of talking about them. Guys, have an open mind when you're listening to this because we got some really good stuff. So let's check it out. Rejection on the Streets.
Okay, so Nick and Emma, lovely to meet you guys, all the way from Scotland. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for doing this, guys. I really appreciate it. So obviously, topic's rejection. Yeah. I know I've given you not even 5 minutes to think about an answer. But what is rejection for you, Nick? Yeah, we'll start with you.
I'd say kind of, but I guess just and there's tons of forms of rejection. There's rejection in love, rejection in kind of an academical sense as well, kind of other senses. But I'd say kind of the best way of dealing with it is self-improvement. It's focus on yourself. Don't go to negative things. Just focus on yourself, improve yourself, go to the gym, do things that make you feel good. So yeah.
No, that's a great answer. What do you think? Just feeding off that a little bit, that self-improvement. Do you think rejection comes a lot from the outside then, rather than within, or does that make sense?
You say yeah, but also it can come within as well. But you could not be happy with yourself in a way. So then you
bounce off each other. If it's an external thing, it could bounce off and you get a bit internally. Yeah. So it could come from a bit of both.
Yeah. Well, here we go. So you've got an idea for what rejection is for you. What is rejection for you, Emma?
Maybe just not being wanted for whatever reason, but then that just causes disappointment. So you're saying, then you think, oh, I want to improve. Or you could take it another way, I want to stop trying, but you have to just not do that and keep working to improve. Definitely. Yeah.
Can you guys think of a time in your life where there was rejection and that how that affected you?
Well, academically, everyone a wee bit can experience that, or just love, just generally, yeah. And it does set you back, but then you just need to think about a goal and a game plan to get yourself back at it.
Do you think rejection can ever be a source of almost fuel to the fire?
Yeah, definitely. It can motivate you. I mean, sometimes if you're sitting an exam, you think, I don't want to fail, so that motivates you the most. You don't want that rejection, so you try harder.
So coming off that then as well, because obviously we've had a few weeks to process these things, so these things have come up. I think but then when fear is the source of the fuel and things, do you think that can ever be unhealthy in a way?
Yeah, I think that can be really bad because you can push yourself too much to not want to fail, that you can burn out. Definitely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that because I guess everyone's scared that they won't, say you impress your parents, impress say your partner or whatever. Everyone wants to impress everyone, I feel, nowadays. So they you need to think deeper about it and be self-improvement and get through it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Are there certain areas in your life where so aside from academics, even friendship groups or even family groups, have you guys ever felt there's been rejection on those ends? Because we've talked about it and it's very much been socially, friendship groups can be easily rejected in those areas. Yeah. Even family, people pushing you aside. Have you guys ever experienced that, or is it?
Yeah, I would say so, but I feel there's different levels of rejection as well. For example, you could say, oh, I don't want to go out tonight, and you get rejected. No one's keen to go out. It doesn't mean you're necessarily not friends with them anymore. It's just it's a small rejection. Whereas obviously if your family aren't happy with you and say they kicked you out of the house, for example, that's obviously a bigger type of rejection. So I think it does depend on how serious it is and stuff. So
I think like it's interesting you saying that, like, because we've tackled like last week. It was very much like, or last week or week after. It was very much like it's not personal, and rejections like can be lots of different things. Yeah. Oh,
I was just gonna say like that's like everything now. You've got like Tinder and all these apps, and that's just like to avoid rejection. You don't get rejected face to face from someone. You're just getting swiped no on like dating apps or whatever. So you're not actually having to face that rejection. So like with social media, I think there's a lots of ways around it to like kind of hide that rejection and make it easier for people.
that is so good. Yeah. That's such a good point. We've actually not thought about that before, but that's so good. Yeah. I mean, like that's. I mean, let's tackle that a bit because like. I feel like social media does do that a lot. And things like Tinder, for example, or whatever, it's very much like, it's almost like living or basing everything off of not being rejected, right? Yeah. Like, do you think, what are your thoughts on like how we deal with that then, you know? Like, do you think we need to completely remove ourselves away from these things or, because I feel like there's some responsibility from our end, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, like it's just especially like with younger generations, like constantly looking for that approval from other people on social media and stuff. And then that's why we've kind of like fixated on this, like Tinder, and I'm sure there's other apps where you don't need to face the rejection, or maybe you're constantly looking to see how many likes you've got or something like that. Like I'm sure there is an age group that do fixate on that, but yeah.
I mean, that goes on for a long time though, you know, like that whole like constant seeking of like approval, like, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Because like I feel like we're always seeking approval, right? But like at one point, it's not gonna.
Well, you're always looking for validation. You're constantly looking for.
Sorry, say that again.
You're always looking for validation and constantly looking for like self boosters. Like we all do that because it makes you happy, but I mean it's unhealthy, yeah.
I think it's just like kind of. I feel like you need to kind of grow up to a certain age, and then you kind of realize maybe it's not as important as it used to be. Like for example, I feel like there's an age group kind of when you're younger, you kind of care more about people's opinions and stuff. But then I feel as you kind of grow older and you're more kind of like self-aware, you kind of realize why am I bothering trying to impress people or all that kind of stuff. So then you actually focus on what you want to focus on and like yourself more. You know what I mean?
Like, what is the main thing that changes though when you like you said like a certain age? Like, what's the difference between that certain age and like where you're at now, for example?
I would say maybe it's just experience, just life experience. Like as you grow older, you get to know people, you get to like know kind of like how kind of life works almost, and then you just kind of realize like you don't need to impress people, you don't need to do this, you don't need to like all that kind of stuff. So,
guys, that was so good. Yeah, really appreciate coming on. Yeah, thank you so much.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have. I hope I get this right. Anna, Talis, and Anna. Double Anna, Talis. Brilliant. Okay, awesome. Thanks for doing this, guys. Really appreciate that. We're talking about rejection and what rejection is for you guys. Anna, we'll start with you. Anna 1.0. What is rejection for you?
Well, it depends on what type of rejection you're talking about. You have love rejection, like people and everything. Like right now we're starting university, so like university rejections. It's obviously like kind of sad, but I believe that like everything happens for a reason. So rejection needs to come in order to find something better. So that's what I think.
Yeah, wow, that's super interesting that you said that. Yeah, rejection needs to come for something better to happen. That's cool, yeah. What about for you, Talis? Can you, just rejection in general, like, where do you see it in your life? And can you even think of, like, a specific time where, like, you had a lot of rejection and that was a big deal for you at the time?
Yeah, sure. So when you first mentioned rejection, I immediately thought girls, being rejected by a girl. Has it happened to me? Yes, it has. But I'm cool with it, and now I can I guess I'm better now because I've had this rejection.
Like, what do you mean by that exactly? Like, better now because, like, I think that's really cool, and I think there's some value in there. Like, so what do you think? Like, what does that mean exactly? Like, how has it made you better?
Well, I've held on to that girl, and I think she did well rejecting me, so I could just move on, which I did. Yeah.
So I guess you're moving on from something that was either toxic or just not good or just not for you. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Anna 2.0. What's rejection for you? I mean, if you want to give us like a time in your life where that was more relevant, feel free. But what is rejection for you?
Well, of course, we can talk about boys, but I feel like something that we don't talk about enough is like being rejected by friends and friendships, that you like get left out and stuff. And that was when I was younger. That happened to me quite often. And then, but I feel like you grow, and like at some point you don't care as much and stuff. And like stuff that you like appreciate is like honest people that don't be like rejecting you all the time and stuff. So I feel like that's what you learn. So like today it's fine, I guess. But like when I was younger, that was pretty tough.
Actually, that's because we've been tackling this for some time, and so like those are sort of things that we've brought up, like socially, in relationships, in just life in general. What do you mean by grow then? Like you said, like since you were younger, you've grown, and now kind of I guess your perspectives change. What have you grown in then? Like, or what are things that you think people should grow in order to take on rejection in a better way?
Well, I feel like you don't care as much when you get older because you get like different perspectives. Like you grow, you see more of the world and meet more people, and you get to see that there is like something else and so many people out there that are really nice and open-minded, and that you don't have to stick to specific people in your life if they're like treating you like shit. So you can just move on, and I feel like that's what you learn from time to time, that you can just move on and actually cut people out of your life if they're not good for you.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a good point because when we base so much on what like people think of us, like people are broken, you know. There's so many things that like, you know, like it's you're basing things off of like something that's bust basically or broken, you know. So I feel like that can be really unhealthy. That's such a good point. But Talis, we'll go back to you, mate. Just on your kind of like in that whole relationships area, like obviously that was the first thing you thought of. Now, my thoughts on this is like, obviously, in a relationship, you're a lot more open, you're more vulnerable. Like, the girl sees like different sides to you, you know? Like, I feel like when you're in love or however you want to put it, like, you just open up in a different way. Do you think that's why you related to that so quickly, or like, what are your thoughts on that?
Like in my case, I wasn't. That's the thing. I wasn't even close to that girl. She was just a crush. I just looked up to her, and when I came to her to ask her out, that's when I got rejected. That's why. Like it took me, honestly, 3 years to get to that point of asking her out, and during those 3 years, I was just like every night I would think of something to tell her or how to say it, and her saying just no took a big load off my shoulders, and yeah, and then I got to do better things than wasting my time with that.
That's so interesting. It was like playing on your mind quite a lot then. Were you ever like fearful of that rejection?
Fearful. Well, that's what I was fearing for those last 3 years. So yes, I was definitely.
Do you think that kind of affected you, not only in your thoughts, but do you think it like influenced the way you did things in life?
That's a good question. I guess I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe I've tried different approaches with other girls since then, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So, Anna 1.0, can you think of like a time in your life where I guess rejection was like a bit more like relevant or like something you had to face, I guess?
I think I can agree with Anna on like the friends rejections. Of course, there's like all boys and everything, but like it's really underrated, like getting rejected by friends, and like when you just want to be with a group of people and like you're your everyday friends, and just like out of nowhere they just close and like you just get like alone. I guess it's really sad, and like Anna said, like you just grow out of it and like you get to understand that there's like a lot of people in the world that are just much better than like maybe like your hometown friends and all of that. Well, I'm not talking about my hometown, like maybe just experience of like my whole life. But I think like talking about like getting rejected by friends and like maybe even family, I don't know, like close people, I think it's much harder than maybe like some boy that sometimes like I will just like move on from it.
So like, why do you think that is harder though? Because I think you're totally right, and it is harder. But like, why do you think that is? What are your thoughts on that?
Because like a boyfriend or like a boy is something like they can come and go and everything. Like I'm gonna give like a ridiculous example, but like when you have your best friend and you have a boyfriend. When you have a problem with your boyfriend, you're gonna directly go talk to your best friends. Now, if you're alone and you break up with your best friend, like you're completely alone, who are you gonna talk to? Like that's like the people you always talk to, and like they're always there for you. So if out of nowhere like they just leave, you you stay completely alone. So that's, I think it's harder, at least for me.
It's like that. I think like, yeah, it's that like independence on that person, isn't it? Like for you, and obviously to process your feelings and whatever else, you know.
It's like your therapist.
Yeah, which is like such a good point, and that's one we've kind of discussed a little bit. But yeah, that's super cool. Thank you guys so much for doing this. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys' thoughts. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we are in where? In fact, where are we?
So we are in Clean Kitchen Club in Buck Street Market.
Yeah. Boom. So yeah, we've got the whole setup here, which is really nice for them to host us. We've got Amanda and Lizzie. I'm so glad I remember that. Brilliant. Thanks for being on, guys. So yeah, we are just obviously tackling rejection. That's the big topic for today, and we're just trying to gather some thoughts and kind of, I guess, viewpoints on where people are at with that. So, Amanda, we'll start with you. What is rejection for you?
Rejection to me, I'd say, God, I mean, oh no, I've been put on the spot. Like we were saying, what did you say? Help me out. It's just a step back. But I feel like it also, rejection, I feel like to me, I think it helps in confidence because you've kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's almost like, as much as you take it as like a knockback, I don't know, that's where like, that's your start to like a whole different like, mate, if you've been, for example, if it's a rejection from someone, I automatically think, well, that person's not for you. Like everyone is meant for someone. If you've been rejected by someone that you thought was right, then that is the universe saying that that's not for you. So, you know, cheers, universe.
Yeah. Do you think like it? Because that's such a good point. Do you think it can be like, something we've had a lot with is like fuel to the fire almost to like, and almost I feel like you were saying like when you have been rejected, it's a step back, but then it almost makes you break through, right? So like, do you think it's like because you're living in fear before being rejected?
Definitely, I think a lot of people go into things. The first thing they think about when there's a new opportunity or new beginning is the fear of rejection. So I think that's why people hold back a lot because they've got that there. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the first thing you think about. Is like even with like I don't know new jobs. If you're going into a job, the first thing you're thinking is like, oh my god, like what if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? Like that's like instant rejection. But you got to go in with that positivity.
Yeah, it's so interesting how like that's the first thing we like think of as well. Like a new opportunity, straight away it's like fear of rejection. Yeah. Like whether that's with a friendship group or a job, like you said, or something like that. That's such a good point. Yeah. What about for you, Lizzie? What is rejection for you? I know Amanda stole your answer a little bit, but obviously you've had a bit more time to think. You said earlier when we were chatting about it that you deal with rejection really well. Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah. So I've actually. In the past, I used to be so scared of rejection, so like job interviews, like meeting new guys, things like that. But I've actually learned that being rejected in the past I wouldn't be here where I am right now. Like I probably wouldn't be in this job, in this city, with my new friends. And I think every time I've been rejected, obviously I used to take it so hard. But like I said, I would not be here today if I hadn't been rejected from those places. And like you said, get a bit spiritual. I just feel like it's the universe saying, that wasn't for you, that wasn't meant for you, and you wouldn't be here without that. I think of all the things I got rejected from Sainsbury's once. It was against me and a 60-year-old woman. Like, and she got the job over me, and I was just thinking like, oh my God, how has that just happened? Like, how have I just been rejected for a job in Sainsbury's? And that was back when I was younger. But imagine if I was still there, like working in Sainsbury's, I wouldn't be here. So I think it's a positive thing, even though at the time it seems negative, but it shall pass.
That's so good because I feel like just that whole like bigger perspective I think is so needed when like you've got it's not a small situation, but at the time it's big, but really in perspective now you look back and you're like, that was such a small thing, and really now it's got you to where you are today. Well, like what was your kind of, I mean, what are like insights into how to deal with that though? You know, at the time obviously what was your thought process? Did you think, okay, like I'm gonna come and like set up this sort of place, or like, you know, what's the thought process when you do deal with that rejection?
Well, at first, I guess it is quite negative because you kind of start going through all the things like, what's wrong with me? Like, why couldn't I do it? Like, does that mean I'm not good at it? But you just got to push through it, I guess. And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's a hard question because I feel like, and I don't think there's a wrong and right answer, but I think it's very personal. Yeah, I don't know. And like you were saying, like with a 6-year-old woman and then yourself, like it can be quite personal, you know? Yeah. So.
I thought I had it in the bag.
Yeah.
Too much confidence when I walked in.
So, like, do you think it's important that we don't take things personal then? Kind of when you do when you do face rejection, or do you think it is personal? Like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I think rejection is, in a way, it's such a normal. It should be a normal. It is a normal thing. So I think people just need to learn that, like, there's always going to be rejection in things, but that is what's going to push you to push yourself. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I get knocked back, and that, like, by someone or people or something, all I want to do is push forward. Like, I want to push harder to show them that I can do it. So it's like taking a step back. Like, you never know. Like, it's just like Lizzie was saying. Like, there's a few things with, like, my last job where if I didn't take that extra step forward, like, I wouldn't be in this new job. I wouldn't be in this position. Like, so yeah, I think rejection in a way is important because you can you don't even, like, sometimes you might not know what you are capable of until you get rejected and you're like, oh, do you know what, like, this is giving me the confidence to, like, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
I think like you said, like you don't realize you can do things until you are rejected. I think that's just like breaking the fear barrier almost. But I also think, like, with what you're saying, because I can so relate, it's like that whole, like, the fuel is proving people wrong. But then when you do that, I feel like there's eventually going to be someone else to prove right, and then there's going to be the next person, and it's almost like chasing your own tail. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're constantly seeking approval, and that's the fuel behind the fire. And it's like, yeah, do you think that's good? I feel like that can be a bit like hit and miss, you know? Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I was just thinking of actually, like, a time that I really got rejected. I know I didn't think about this, but I went to university and I did law and criminology. Like, always thought I was going to do something in the policing area. And then last year I was so certain that was the career for me, and I didn't have any other sites anywhere else. I was literally like, police. Went through all of these interviews, and I thought I had it in the bag because I got through all the kind of like the hard stages. I did all the, like, logistical, analytical, whatever tests. Did my last interview, went a bit skew with, and then in the end realised I didn't get it. And for me, going to uni for 3 years, thinking that was going to be my career path, and to get knocked back. And they were like, just try again next year. And I was a bit like, oh, like, yeah, okay. But then at the same time, I'm like, I didn't want to do it anyway in the end. Like, now I look back, I don't want to do it again. So it was the best thing that could have happened to me, getting rejected. Rejection is great.
That's so funny. That's kind of what we've gone to. But, like, I think if you use it right, it can be, you know? Like, I don't think that's a bad way to look at it. But no, you're fine. Yeah. Help yourself to a drink. Yeah, a little sponsor, yeah. But yeah, no, that's super interesting. But I think, like, just going back to what I was saying was, like, that being the fuel, like, pleasing people and things, and I think that can be, like, really unhealthy in a way. Yeah, I don't know, like, you're just constantly chasing someone's approval, but not everyone's gonna.
I think the most, you just need to please you need to chase your own like approval, if that makes any sense. Or something. Like, you need to, everything that you do in life needs to be for you, as selfish as it sounds. Like if you feel like you're going to hurt other people in the process, you need to realize that, like, you are here for you. Like, you're not here for anyone else. As awful as that sounds, like, you have to do everything that is best for yourself. And
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, but even then, like, because it's interesting because you guys are saying things and we're like, these are things we've thought about for the past few weeks because this is the topic we've been on. So, like, I've had more time to process this. But I feel like even when, so now we're not seeking others' approval, but now I'm going to seek my own approval. Even me, like, I'm probably my most harshest critic. Is that right? Yeah. You know, like there's no one harsher on myself than me. Like, I'm very quite hard on myself. So, like, you know, it's going to be hard to really even approve of myself and my actions, you know? So, like, it's funny you saying that, but then I'm like, oh, yeah, but, like, I'm my harshest critic, you know? So, I don't know, is there, like, a balance, or, I know this is putting you on the spot a little bit, Amanda, but, like, is there, like, a balance, or just kind of, like, where's the right and wrong in kind of, you know, do you think we should be getting approval from someone specific?
I mean, I get where you're coming from when you say that you are your harshest critic, because I get that too, because you do constantly kind of well, with me anyway, I overthink every single thing that I do. Like, so I get that. But yeah, I guess like, I don't know. I think approval can be good. Like if you're, because you're, I don't know. And yeah, oh my god, I really
No, it's good because
I know what you're saying, but like I can't.
I think for me, because again, like I said, I've been processing this a little bit, but like it's super interesting because I think seeking approval is probably not the answer for me anyway. You know, and kind of like whether it's from myself or from others, I don't think I'm going to get that satisfaction or that end goal. So for me, like my faith plays a big role in that. Obviously, like we're part of a Christian team. I don't know if I mentioned that at the start or not, but yeah, I did. Yeah. So, like my faith plays a big role in that because I'm living for Jesus and I know that He accepts me for the way I am, and like even the times when I do mess up, I know He has that loving hand on me. You know, so it's not like a case of like, so even when relating this to acceptance and rejection and things like that, like He accepts me for the way I am, even when I don't get into something, or even when I am not good at something, or when I'm great at something, He loves it. When I'm not good at something, He still loves me, you know? And it's not very, it's just, I'm not like, Jesus, I need your approval, so I need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, blah, 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 you know? But that's like, this is my response. It's like you guys are interviewing me now. It's like the other way around. But like, just out of curiosity, is faith of anything in you guys' lives, or have you even thought about that side of life before?
Yeah, I used to, like years back when I was younger, I went to church, but not now. I just count myself as I'm just like kind of spiritual now. I'm more like
How do you mean spiritual?
I'm more just on like the I don't know, just like the Buddhism side of things, and just like more about like energies and just general just acceptance of everyone, and just I don't know. It's all about just the energies around you and like just being happy, and yeah, I don't know, like. But that's just me. That's how I feel is best. I don't, not that I don't believe in anything or I'm against any other religion, because like I'm all for it. I love religion. I think it's really nice how people can come together and like, and all they're all, everyone is there for like one thing, and they all believe in this, like this one thing. But for me personally, I'm just like, it's just a universe thing for me. I'm like, everything happens for a reason. Like, yeah, it's all energies.
That's cool. Like, again, I think it's really interesting that, because I feel like it's not discussed a lot. You know, this side of life, I'm going to call it. You know, what about for you, Lizzie, the Queen?
Cut that out. What, faith in my life?
Yeah, just like, is God a thing? Is faith a thing? Like,
no. When I was younger, like I went to a Catholic school. I was never brought up religious. My parents were very lenient in the way that they would always say, if you were, like, we would take you to church. It's not a problem, like, even though they're not. But I never was. I know I lived in a very religious part of America where Christianity is huge, down in the south of Florida. So I was around it all the time. I did go to a few church things with my friends and like Sunday sessions and things like that. But it just, for me, it didn't ever get me. I don't know why. But I just, like I said, like Amanda, respect it. Like, I'm all for it, but it's just not something that I take into my daily life. I mean, one day maybe, you never know. I might see something, or something might happen to me that might change my mind. But at the minute, like, I'm kind of in the same area as Amanda, where I just kind of believe in just positive energies, really. And kind of, I feel like the law of attraction, you attract what you give off. So if you give off positive energy, then you're going to get positivity back. If you're constantly negative all the time and you're doubting yourself, and you know, you think your life is shit, you think your life is awful, or you're broke and you know no one likes you, then that is going to be the energy that you attract. That's just what I feel. So this is new to me as well. I only started kind of getting into this stuff in March. Asked me this last year, I would have literally been like, bye. So that's why I said I'm new to everything. I never in a million years thought I would have ever looked at like the universe and been like all of this positive energy chakra stuff. But yeah, it's just something that's really helped me in the past few months. So never say never.
that's like, yeah. I mean, this has been longer than 5 minutes, so I'll slowly wrap it up. Yeah, sorry, but I think it's nice that like people are open to it, because I feel like it's very easy like pushed aside. You know, like the whole faith and like just
young people really around your age, I feel like, that are into faith and stuff. So I haven't met many people. I mean, I'm quite new to London, but I haven't met many people all your ages. How old are you?
I'm 23. We've got Elfie, who's 20. and Kaylee is 21. Yes.
But you don't meet that many people around your age that are religious.
I think, yeah, I mean, it is, and I think it's a big thing today, you know, or it's big, getting bigger, should I say, and like, it's something we want to tackle a bit more. So, anyway, thank you so much, guys. That was great. You guys were so hesitant on being on, but that was so good. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, yeah, thanks.
All right. So those were our conversations that we had on the street yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good laugh. Well, yeah, it was a good laugh actually. We had some really, really cool stuff. And yeah, just especially the last interview that we had. We were like a couple ladies. To be honest, we were like rejected by quite a few people.
Ironic, really, isn't it?
Say that again.
Ironic, really, isn't it? So I had to go into the mic.
Yeah, yeah, just so they can hear you. But yeah, so like, and it was actually really cool how it kind of led to them, and like, they said yes, obviously, and then we got to go in their little mini studio, and we had such a good conversation. Yeah, I don't know. The reason why we do that is to really hear what people have to think and say, and yeah, just kind of what's going on in their lives. And so I really felt like the conversation that we had really, like, it obviously challenged me, but I think it really challenged them as well on just things that people don't normally think about.
And you're
So
talking with the business owners, right? Yeah. I don't know if we clarified that or if I just missed that, but
yeah.
but yeah, is that kind of like the main thing that stuck out to you, or the?
yeah, I mean, and then kind of just a little bit of a side on from Rejection. At the end, I think it was Lizzie, was just like, oh, like, you know, I used to be part of a church. Didn't make the best impression on her. I think it was church or Catholic church, I'm not sure. But I just know, like, that whole scene didn't make the best impression. And I think meeting us and just kind of having a conversation with us and this sort of gig, like, I think that really kind of opened their eyes a little bit, but like, oh, like, church isn't weird. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's
kind of our goal, right? To show a different side of it, but yeah.
so I think that was quite a big thing for me. And I know it was also mentioned a lot, like the whole idea of like being rejected from friendship groups. And I know that's such a big thing in today. Yeah. So I thought like it was cool that they were brought up because those are things that we've discussed and obviously know that's relevant to today.
Yeah, and I think something that stood out to me, I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but the Scottish couple who are straight legends, and they were so excited. It was amazing. But we talked a lot about, or they talked a lot about how, like, rejection often can lead to self-improvement, and I just love the initiative. Do you know what I mean? That involves and that takes, and that they were like, no, like, you get rejected, like, it's okay, like, but what can you do to, like, get better? And I think a lot of times, like, we sometimes forget that, like, we're always supposed to be getting better. You know, and like, or we know that, but then in terms of rejection, or when we are being rejected, it's so hard then to be like, oh, well, it's just in the process of growing, you know, it's like, wow, like, that hurt me, you know, but like, I love that kind of mindset, and especially, and they talked about like, and they just social media, and like Tinder, and like, knowing that you're just constantly being rejected by strangers all the time, they've never met you, like, it can be so daunting, but I just really love that like the ownership, I guess, that they kind of like brought to the table, and like active and like, okay, like, but what are we gonna do about it, you know? Which I thought was really cool and like really encouraging for me and like challenging for me, you know, to be like, well, of course I'm gonna get rejected, but I'm also always growing, you know? So like learn from everything and become more of who God created you to be, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I really like the idea of like taking responsibility, you know, on your behalf and like what is my role in this situation. I feel like it's really easy to push that aside. So and just kind of almost sulk. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, you know, if you did the interview and you're watching this, thank you so much because that was really good. And I know like, you know, before the interviews they're a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about doing this and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, they were all great and we had some really good answers. So yeah.
Amazing. And also before we leave, I would just like to let all of our listeners and viewers know that on the day that we are filming this, it is currently Zach's birthday. He told me not to say it, but we're going to say it because I feel like that's pretty pertinent. So wish him a happy belated birthday in the comments of the YouTube video or just send us a message on Instagram because he loves that. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Thank you for, tuning into another episode on Rejection. I think, guys, we're planning on having one final episode. We're going to bring in a guest on Rejection, that is. And yeah, be looking forward to it. Keep updated. How are they going to keep updated, Zach?
Through through the Anchor of the Week on Insta. Yeah, check us out because we've got a really cool episode coming up. So looking forward to it. But yeah, tune in for next week and hope you guys are doing all right.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Anchor of the Week.
Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube so you never miss an episode.
See you next time.